You did something new with your marketing and you expected it to work. You expected higher views, a couple new followers, maybe even some sales. But that didn't happen and you're disappointed. You're ready to say, see, that stuff, it doesn't even work. So, what happens next? As a business owner, testing and trying new things in your marketing is essential. And while you want the results to all be amazing right from the beginning, that isn't always the case. So today, let's talk about what happens when you get disappointing data, how you respond as a business owner, and how to take what you learned to make better decisions. Disappointing results are normal. Disappointing marketing results are normal. Being disappointed by results is normal. Yes, I needed to say that 3 times because I need you to believe it. Every single person running a business, from a business owner trying to make their first 50K to multi-million-dollar companies, they all have marketing results that don't turn out the way that they want. But just because it's normal doesn't mean you still don't have feelings about it. I'll use myself as an example. Just the other week, I was examining my emails from the past few months. I was looking over open rates. I was looking at the click rates. I was looking at what people were clicking on. I was also seeing what email styles and subject lines people were engaging with. And as I was analyzing them, I realized that the current structure I had wasn't working as well as it could be. I saw that the style of email I gravitated towards and was the most natural for me wasn't the style of email that my list actually responds to. The data made it so clear that my email strategy could be a lot better. And my gut reaction was to be disappointed that what I was doing wasn't working as well. I wanted to be hard on myself. I wanted to use that as proof as like, yep, Danielle, you suck. Why did you even try sending emails to your audience in the first place? Like my little high achieving brain it freaked out. And this is with me knowing on a logical level that when you analyze things, you're always going to see and notice something. I literally went into my data looking for information. I went in there looking for things to improve. But I ended up hurting my own feelings getting the answer. And I want to be so honest. My results, they weren't even bad. But there were clear ways that I could shift what I was doing. I'm sure you've experienced something very similar yourself. I know my clients have. For my people, they go in, they want answers on what they can do better. Or maybe for you, you're trying out something new with your content. But after looking at the data and the feedback, it's clear that things are not going the way that you envisioned. For my clients, they start to sulk because the answer wasn't like, oh, you're doing everything perfectly, keep going, keep at it. And I'm sure it ends up being true for you also. It feels so disappointing because you put in effort, you tried, and it still didn't go the way that you wanted. We hear so many messages about you just have to do the work, you just have to put it in, you have to keep trying and the results will come. So when you feel like you put in the work and you put in the effort and the results don't come, you take that as proof as you're not capable, or you use it as evidence that you're not good enough. But that isn't what the data is telling you. I promise you, that's not what the data is telling you. I'll go back to me in those emails. The data felt disappointing, but the data told me what to do next. The data made it clear which emails outperformed the others. The data made it clear what mix of topics I should use going forward. The data made it clear what kind of subject lines I should be trying. If you follow me on Instagram, I actually have a post that breaks down that exact email analysis that I have, and so I'll link that in the show notes if you are curious and want to take a look. But the question then becomes, how do you make that jump from thinking the results say I suck, why did I even think that this would work, to then thinking, oh great, I'm so glad that I have this data and information, I know what to do next, let's go make some changes. How do you do that? Because I'm sure you've heard that people who take action and learn from it quickly make the most progress. But how can you just hop in and make changes when you feel like if your first try didn't go well, how will you know if the next one will? Well, I'll start with myself. I usually like to pretend that I'm not affected by things. I like to think that I'm just very logical. I know that feedback is just information I can use and take the information and just go and run with it. But that would be false. Going back to that email example, because it's still just so fresh in my mind, I took that information that I pulled from analyzing over 100 emails, and I was proud of myself for looking at it because I really was. But at the same time, I felt hurt by what I was looking at. Thank goodness, though, that I happened to be talking to some coach friends just right after I was analyzing those emails. And when I talked to them, they noticed in my face and my tone of voice of how I was pretending that I was fine with these results, but beneath the surface, I just wasn't. So I'm so thankful that I talked to them at that time because left on my own, I wouldn't have processed this nearly as quickly. What would have happened is that I would have sat there looking at those stats, reading over my own analysis, then shaming myself, and then doing absolutely nothing about it. Then the next thing I would have known, time would have passed, I wouldn't have sent another email for several weeks, and then I would have been even more mad that not only was I not taking action on the results, I just stopped emailing altogether. But talking to my coach friends and getting super honest about what I was experiencing was so important. I was able to just tell them what was going on and let those emotions flow. Tears happened. Coaching happened, which is why it is so important to work with a coach that you trust, who sees your patterns and can pull you out of a spiral before it even happens. I have been working and talking with these coach friends for years, and so they noticed my patterns and they were able to say, like, what's happening? What's going on? Let's dig into this. That's something that you can't always do on your own. You need an outside perspective. It will literally save you weeks and months of self-doubt and disappointment and anger. Now, after I got myself coached, I did some journaling. I wrote down why so many emotions came up around looking at email data. I wrote down what came up for me in the coaching that I got. And for me at that time with emails, I was very proud of the level of consistency that I put in with my email practice. And in general, I was getting solid results, but I knew that there were areas that I could work on. The issue was that I was not able to balance being proud of the progress that I was making with seeing what things I could work on and improve. In my head, it was very binary. Either I was amazing, no changes needed, you're perfect, or I sucked and I needed to change everything that I was doing, and there's just no in between. Although that is not true at all, but that's what it felt like, at least for me. So doing that reflection made it clear how my mind was working. Then doing a meditation practice and some breath work helped me to get that anxious feeling just out of my body. For me, when I feel disappointment or shame, I feel like this tight heaviness. I usually want to curl up and just feel small. Doing a meditation and doing breath work really helped me to relax my brain and my body, and it also helped me to start seeing things a lot more clearly. By the end of the day, I had made strategic changes through these actions. And that's the work: getting coached, doing the journaling, doing the meditation, doing the breath work. Now, you may not consider this to be strategic marketing work, but I've seen it for myself and I've seen it with clients. It is the fastest way to go from spinning out about your marketing results and not having things work the way that you want to then taking strategic, actionable change that you're going to see in the long run in your business. Just the other week, I had a client tell me herself, Danielle, you cut my crash out time in half. And this is because on your own, when you're working on this solo, it is very difficult to pull yourself out of a spiral quickly. I needed my coach friends to help me with that. You need someone to help you with that. And yes, you can do it yourself, but it often will take weeks. But working with someone who is trained to see these patterns and knows your patterns in particular, like that spiral and that crash out time can be cut from weeks to an hour. Getting coached, doing meditations, sitting and journaling out what those core issues are, they are the core practices that will allow you to be more objective and see the possibilities in your marketing. They will allow you to reframe how you see the results that you got from trying something new. That's what helped me within the course of a day go from looking at my email results, feeling disappointed, to then taking strategic action on how I'm going to change how I email my people. Something that could have easily knocked me out for weeks, questioning my emails, stopped me from my habit that I built up over months, that all would have froze if I didn't take that time to do that work. Instead, it was processed in maybe less than 2 hours, right? And after I processed all of my emotions, then I was able to reframe that data that I got. For me, I had to look back at the data and realize that it was actually telling me that I was underutilizing one of my best styles of content. I was not sending enough perspective shifting content. My default style is more of like a how to or a general storytelling style of content. The data that felt disappointing was really just telling me to try shifting the ratio of what I sent out. And when I was able to reframe that, I could see more clearly that the data never said that I sucked. It simply stated that if you want better results, try this instead. So for you, when you're trying something new with your marketing and you get results that you don't like, I want you to follow these steps. First, I want you to get coached. I want you to work with someone who has seen people doubt their marketing, who has helped people who wanted to completely change everything about their business. I want you to work with that type of person because getting coached with them, me, will help you make better business decisions from a more balanced and regulated place. When we feel frustrated, we just want to throw that baby out with the bathwater, right? Like we want to scrap everything when that's not necessary. You're just in the middle of a crash out or a spiral. So go get coached and get perspective. Next, I want you to journal out and be honest about what you're feeling. Sometimes you can be more honest with your journal than you can be with your coach, at least at first. So go deeper into your feelings, the ones that you just want to really ignore. Because I know you want to ignore your feelings because that is what I want to do too. Thinking that you should just move on, keep going, be strategic, and not let feelings get in the way. But what will happen is that you'll ignore your feelings. You'll, on a logical level, see that, like, oh, this is what the data is telling me. But then you'll wonder, okay, why aren't I taking any action when it's so clearly laid out in black and white what I should be doing next? It's because you didn't address your feelings. The reason you aren't taking the action is because you're ignoring the disappointment you feel about the marketing not going the way that you want it. The sooner you acknowledge it really and deeply, the sooner you'll be able to make the powerful moves that you want to make. When you get honest about what you are feeling, I want you to write it down. And I want you to do this for a few reasons. One, because when you let it flow on paper or on your computer, you tend to go deeper with your reflection. And the second reason why I want you to journal this, because you will likely experience this again. Having written proof of how you handled this situation before actually will help you process. Having a reminder that, okay, I've experienced this before, I've made it through, it will make it easier the next time. And lastly, I want you to do some type of somatic practice to release the feelings from your body, okay? This can be taking a walk or going for a run. This could be EFT tapping. This could be breath work. I'll be honest, I was just like, that somatic work is BS, but trust me, over the past year, I've realized that it is a game changer in helping you to get out of your brain into your body and actually start moving and doing the tasks that you need to do to see the progress that you want to make. The reason is that everything isn't just processed into your head. You feel it in your body. When your brain wants you to work, but your body still can't, you have energy that needs to be released. That's the work that you need to do. I have clients who get mad at me when I suggest taking deep breaths or stretching during our marketing sessions, but every time they do that, they are able to think about their problems so much better, and they become so much more focused, and they get better results. Trust me, I was a person who was like, oh, I don't know about this tapping thing or breath work, but it changes things. You will be able to see and reframe your marketing differently when you do this. Because I was able to go through these steps, I was able to then outline a new approach I want to take starting in July. I now know what my default style of email is. I know what style of email my audience really responds to, and I know what to try more of in the future. For you, a reframe may mean changing how you look at your Instagram or LinkedIn post results. It could be how you want to reframe looking at the webinars that you conduct. But it requires you getting out of your spin out of disappointment, and doing that alone is hard and it can take you weeks. When I work with my clients in my one-on-one coaching program, I cut that time in half. I help you to see clearly the possibilities of what your data is showing you and what your business situation actually is. And I help you to quickly make strategic actions that will turn your business around. I've helped clients who were ready to give up on launches, then go and fill their group programs. I've helped coaches running live events go from thinking no one was going to show up to then selling it out. All because they worked with me to end their spin out, reframe their situation, and take strategic action to get more clients working with them. Go to the show notes and book a free sales call to learn how you can stop feeling discouraged with your results and learn what steps to take in the next 30 days to turn your business around and get the momentum that you want. All right, y'all, until next time, I'll talk to you soon. If you want more marketing that works right in your inbox, head to the show notes and sign up for the email list. You'll be the first to know how you can work with me on mastering your marketing.